I just recapped two figures from Senat. Firstly, 47% of the travelers are confident to use AI, so we keep that in mind. And another important figure I saw, 26% of the travelers consider to choose or to book less touristy destinations, whatever these are. But we see people want to go outside of the hotspots, and that's precisely the topic we are in now: smart visitor flow, how AI and data can curb over-tourism. I think visitor guidance is a real essential topic, just because it keeps us also in the balance between tech innovations and human requirements. I think that's the mainstream flow what we are in here today at our Destination Tech Track, and we have two distinguished guests and real experts in this field here. And I think it's not that often that they are on one stage together. We start with Reinhard Lanner. He's one of the well-known researcher researcher and also expert in the field of the destination technology. He's a former CIO of Austria Tourism. He has his own consulting company. He works for several projects in the field of visitor guidance. And Reini, I think you're also a human guy, so keep the balance between human and technology. Let's see how to keep this balance right.
Thank you very much. Dirk, thank you that you're all here. It's Thursday afternoon. Let's start. I've been working in the tourism industry for many, many years as manager for the local, regional DMO, and the last couple of years as CDO of the Austrian National Tourism Organization. And now I try to find out how the technology helps us to keep tourism in balance. And I brought a couple of case studies I'm working on now for St. Elmo's Tourism. And the first one is from the Praxatal. The Praxatal is a tiny little village in South Tyrol. It's about 700 inhabitants. And all of a sudden, this tiny little village had about 10 to 15,000 visitors every day, which is not really something livable for a short, small destination like that. And because of that, you start thinking about where do the people come from. And if we take this, then you see the results when we count the people, where do they come from, international visitors, and where do... That's just the results, but the question always is, why do they come? And these people come because if they have a very beautiful lake, and that's an Instagrammable place. And if you have an Instagrammable place, people will come. If you think further how the domestic tourism shapes the whole area, then we are talking about Italian people visiting this place in the northern part of Italy. Why did these people come? They came because this was a film set for a film based in Italy. The one or other which is older knows Terence Hill. He's a famous actor, and he played there in this series, and that's why these people come. And our job now is to think about how can we manage all of that. And I think that the Praxatal is one of the leading destinations when we talk about smart mobility, smart tourism management. If you want to go to this area and you see this beautiful lake, when you go there in July or August, you have to pre-book or you have to use public transportation. Otherwise, you can't go in there. They have a boom gate there, and on their website they have quite a smart solution where you register your car when you go there. And then they have the camera there, you put on your registration plate, and you drive into this valley, and then the gate opens as soon as it recognizes. We all know that from parking areas. The same thing happens here in this small village. How much do you pay? At the beginning, the parking space were about 20 euros. For 2 years now, the village charges 40 euros, and you also get 20 euros voucher, which you can consume in the restaurants there, and so on and so on. So that's one thing. The second thing is not only about the technology, it's also about people behavior, human behavior. And our idea was that tourism destinations are not a commodity which we should consume. Tourism destinations are livable places we should visit and we should regenerate there. And that's the idea what we gave them. This is a place not to consume, but to regenerate yourself and come back with more energy before. That's one thing. And the question also is, how do you communicate this to the people who are visiting our places? How will we do that in future? And if we imagine how tourism communication might be different in future, when we think about how do we listen to music? Many, many years ago, we listened to music and the radio gave us the same music for all of us. What do we have today? Today we have Spotify and we have playlists. And Spotify creates a playlist and we enjoy the things we want to hear, but we also enjoy to get new ideas, new songs. The same thing might happen for the travel industry. I don't know who was here today in lunchtime when we heard about agents, about NFT, about blockchains. The way we communicate with visitors will dramatically change because these playlists come and say, okay, take this playlist for the best quiet morning hikes or local wine tastings or maybe how to get into contact with the local people. That's one thing. A second example I brought with me, what we are working at the moment is a field research. We do about 2 tiny places in Austria. One is called Dürnstein at the Wachau. That's on the river Danube, and most of the people who go there come from river cruise ship industry. And the other one is Hallstatt, a very picturesque tiny little village as well, which is visited by many, many people from the Asian, from the Middle East, and so on and so on. And what do we have here? Of course, we can count the people who come there. And you see on this chart, we count how many visitors do we have per day, when do they come. But what do you do with this information? And I think the last couple of years, we wasted too much time in just taking data. We have too many data, and we have little insight. And when we go to a hospital, to an emergency room, what do we expect from our doctors? They should understand what are important data and what are minor important data, and they should treat us based on this information. And I think this is what the travel industry, what we, all of us, have to learn to distinguish between these things. One idea I had is, let's create something which is called a situation room. What is a situation room? We know that from crisis management, we know situation room also from the military strategy. And what we do at the moment, try to take this concept about the decision-making space and put it on the tourism industry. Different stakeholders come together, different stakeholders negotiate and try to solve the problem and try to solve the challenges together. Of course, we have one thing which is real-time data, what we need on information boards and so on and so on. But as said before, it's also about data filtering, finding out the right information. The third thing is about planning and scenario planning. What can, one of the challenges we have, visitors go into the private gardens of the houses and they take their pictures there. Some visitors from Asia, from America, they think they are in a museum and all the people who live there are actors. That's not very well for the how the locals perceive tourism. And that's the question, how can we change this behavior of the tourists? And therefore, what do we need? We need behavioral science. Who of you has ever shopped in a supermarket? Please raise your hand. Who has been in a supermarket? Quite a few of you. Not one single product in a supermarket is there where it is per accident. It's psychologists and who are testing which products, put it on eye level, higher, lower, and. These things we have to learn as well in the tourism industry. And finally, it's also about the stakeholder coordinations. They all have different needs. They all have different interests. The hotelier, the restaurateur, they want to make profit. The people who are living in their village, they want to have peace and quiet. The visitors, they want to have an experience. The tour operators, they want to make money as well. All these people, they have to get together in a virtual room with their interests, respect the needs and the interests of the others, and negotiate to come up with a solution together. We have a blueprint, which is the POST strategy, P-O-S-T. And first of all, it's about people. Who are the people? Who are the stakeholders? What are the needs? What is the interests of them? O, what are our objectives to these stakeholders? What do we want from them? What should they do? S, then we develop a strategy. We know your needs, we know our objectives, and then we need a good strategy. And finally, we talk about a technology. And with this blueprint, we try to do the best thing. That were two examples, and the last one is something I would like to invite you. Whoever thinks that she or he wants to get in touch with these expert groups. We have an expert groups from Austria, Germany, South Tyrol, and we are sitting together regularly. We learn. It's like a peer-to-peer learning group. It's not anymore that one consultant goes to the destination and tells the destination what to do. It's about peer-to-peer learning, moderated by experts like us from St. Elmos. And that's it. I think time is over. Technology helps us really to focus on the foundation of the tourism industry. And the foundation is hospitality. And that's where we can focus because of the technological support. My name is Reini. Thanks for listening to me.
Thanks to you, Reini. We will have a little wrap-up discussion afterwards, but it was a good entrance speech from you. Thank you. We bring AI into this topic, and probably you all know Autoactive as a company, and we have the founder and CEO of Autoactive here. But today we're not talking currently about Autoactive in general. We talk about the AI-based recommender to avoid overtourism and to make a more reliable visitor guidance in tourism. So I think you have, as usual, brilliant ideas and amazing technology. So let's see what it is, Hartmut. Thanks for being here. Hartmut Wimmer.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about technology behind the people and behind guiding the visitors. Also based on artificial intelligence nowadays. And first I want to talk a little bit about what AI does and what is it doing already today. And this is not just as it does today, it's like 10 years that we can use technology to find tags and the content of images that is identified by technology and transferred into text and tags. And this is what we already use since a while is content that is used by large language models to serve the users, answer questions in something like a help center, a database with a lot of knowledge. And this is what we all know as chatbots and interfaces to ask systems about the answers and the content in it. And we also use it for creating content in a systematic way. If you create a POI or if you create a route description or part of a region description, it is like prompting in a systematic way for different sorts of content. There are different sorts of prompts needed that are managed in a structured way in the system so that the system can create better and better the content automatically. And then finally, of course, also translated in many languages. So it's also implemented in the content management systems already that we translate the content automatically into different languages. As we all know, the tools of Google Translate or DeepL. This is also being translated automatically in the future more and more, and on demand more and more. Talking about the recommendations that Reinhard already mentioned, the systems need to guide us and recommend the things that we expect based on our behavior, based on our favorites. And this is a recommendation of a route. Can also be a travel itinerary and POIs along the route. And it can change during the season, with different weather situations. And it's also in the end personalized what users do expect. And how does it work? It's all based on a knowledge graph, so it's a semantic that we have since many, many years in the entire platform, that every piece of content is linked somehow with the other piece of content. And it's all geographically based on the map. And with this semantic, we are able to make local recommendations and connect the content with the other content and the users. And based on that, we also are able to make predictions what is going to happen tomorrow or what is going to happen next week when the weather is good and weather is bad, or when there are holidays. This is data from parking systems, from the payment apps of parking availability. And this is in like traffic light visualization, whether there are parking lots available or not. We can also predict when you arrive there in an hour, what is going to be the parking situation there, and to avoid unnecessary park searching traffic. And this is also other sorts of data. It is the usage of the trails, so the traffic on certain hiking or cycling trails. We can record it daily and hourly and report it, and filter it for last week and next week. And based on this data, we can make recommendations. We are not showing this data in its origin form to the users, because if we want to make the situation not worse in the destination, because at the Praxer lake it would be very red, and everyone would go there because it must be nice, then we actually make it worse than it is. And therefore, we are not showing it in a raw version of the data. We make recommendations out of it, and we say at the weekend we expect high occupancy. And then we show alternatives. You should not go there at the weekend, you should go there during the week, or you should go somewhere else. And this data is then actually used already based on AI and based on a lot of data that we have recorded for recommendations for the behavior that what you should do. And this, to have this information personalized, as Reinhard has explained it with Spotify, they know what I want, we need to store user data. And user data is a very important data, but it's not allowed to do this outside of the platform. We need to store the information on servers in the European Union, but within our environment we can store it, and we can make recommendations based on personalized preferences and personalized behavior. And this is also has been researched in the Artificial Intelligence Recommender project. It was a huge funding project, actually the largest funding project in Europe about visitor guidance based on air. And that was like a lot of partners, 4 million for years. And in a nutshell, the result was like different levels of restrictiveness to lead to different results. Just showing marketing information does not guide the visitors. It actually causes problems sometimes. Showing the overcrowding information is the lowest level, and the nudging is the next level. And what Reinhard showed is like limitation, reservation. These are the more stronger measures to guide the people. And this is different levels of solving the problem, actually. what is the need, actually, and the need is all based on data. We recommend creating data is the most important thing, actually. It must be first-hand, it must be trustworthy, it must be structured, and that's what people should do first. And I also have got some takeaways. All the resources need to be invested in creating data, in having the semantic, having like the goal of building a digital twin of a tourism destination. And it should not be invested so much resources and time in programming and creating AI tools, because all the platforms and the big players are doing this a lot faster. This is actually not the time to develop own technologies. The big guys and people like us, we are doing that for you. And this is actually also the closure of my presentation. If you want to have the presentation, you could scan the code and download it, and then that's it. Thank you very much. And
thank you so much, Hartmut Wimmer. I think it's time for a recap. By the way, good to have your presentation as a download. Ladies and gentlemen, you can also have the full show on YouTube in a few days, so it will be released. We also have a live stream. You can see the live streams, of course, you're here, but you can see the YouTube video afterwards. So a lot of information after ITB. It's time for a recap. Hartmut, please have a seat. I'm happy to have Reini back on stage, Reinhard, Lanner. Take a seat, guys, just because I think we have to recap a few things. We have some minutes left. You both talked a lot about recommendations. Before we dive into the technology topics, do tourists, do guests follow recommendations still, or do we need the old-fashioned closets, borders, red lights, functions? What is your opinion? Will it work with recommendation to avoid over-tourism?
As I just showed in the graph, so there is different levels of restrictiveness, and I think you can reach the most people with digital tools and recommendations before they start, because once they are on site and once they are at the parking lot, they are very hard to stop, and they do not have a plan B, so they will do it, and they will actually do things that we don't want and that are not allowed, and that hurt the nature and the people. But that's the only way to inform them before. And I think that's the biggest lever that we have. Once they are there and once the problem is getting bigger, we are at the Praxer Wildsee example, then you need to have barriers, you charge for registration and parking, and that's like, I think it's not one solution for every place. I think it is like a stairs that goes up in terms of restrictiveness that needs to fit to the place and to the size of the problem, actually.
Do you agree, Reini? I mean, you displayed it in Praxer, but is there any chance to break down the barriers in the closets in a while by technology?
Well,
by education, maybe. We don't have to talk about technical.
Might be if we take that, when we are in a foreign place, we feel insecure. And when we feel insecure, we like information which guides us and gives us a better feeling. If we talk about stress, so the modern description of tourism, stressed people come to stressed resorts. That's tourism nowadays. And when we ask people, they say, we can't relax, we need a guide, we need a coach. So yes, they want recommendations from guides, from locals, from coaches, experts, to make sure that they have a good time. I think people like that.
And you also said we have too many data almost, which is seldom heard on this conference. Most of people say we had too less data, we need more. But I got your point. We just have to pick out the right ones. And you said we need to play with data in the right way. We need this situation room, do some simulations on it. Shouldn't we go one step further and have a real control room? I think in Venice is a good example. They just established this control room 2 years ago, combining public authorities, police, safety, and so on, and still steering the red lights with it as well. So a little bit old-fashioned way. So is it only prediction, or do we have to steer the people?
I think we should do that. As you said, Venice already does it. But also Hartmut is an expert. He's doing with his team nothing else than this. I don't think every tiny little village should invest in this. So for our situation room, what we do is we write a role concept. For instance, you need a data analyst, and the job of the objective is to do this. The skills needed is that. And if you implement it in your organization, or if you get an expert outside company, that's your management decision.
Yes.
So it might be the right thing to do for Venice. It might be for bigger cities the right thing to do. It also might be that if we talk about ski areas, it could be done by the ski operators, by the companies, but it could also be done by the technology companies. Right. Like Access or Ski Data. They can sit in Salzburg and can manage every ski resort all over the world.
Or by Autoactive maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are sort of integrator of data from different sources, and I think in the end it's not just this one system or the other system. I think in the end the key is like getting all the sources, getting all the stakeholders involved, getting all the data into one place to make a recommendation that actually knows all the conditions and all the factors. That's kind of the goal, actually.
Hartmut, do you see AI as a game changer in the field of visitor guidance, or is it just a nice add-on, to be honest? Just because I think you started in this field before Gen AI came into town. So what is it for you in this field?
It is a game changer, but it is not the solution itself. So many things that I presented actually are quite old. We are doing this since 10 or 20 years. Yes. It was not AI in terms of technology terms. It was algorithms. And what we are doing today is a mix of algorithms and smart tools and smart solutions, and they are powered by AI in the end. So it's not AI by itself. AI does nothing by itself, but it can be used to have smarter tools, let's say more complex answers on the questions that we need to answer.
What's the role of AI in your opinion, Reini?
I think that more and more objects of our real life become digitized. That's what we know as Internet of Things. And AI will play a huge role by combining this Internet of Things, coming up with synthetic data and so on and so on.
Is it pushing the visitor flow, or is it getting the visitor flow in order?
100%. We as the tourism industry, we have to learn that the first contact, like a hotel, in the next 12 months, the first contact of any visitor with the hotel will be with a chatbot. And that's what we have to learn, that it's not either the human or the technology. And our technology of the company has to talk with the entertainment system of the car. The entertainment system has to talk with the parking lots, and so on and so on. And I think, as we had it before in the 1920s, when we had the telephone, we had these ladies, they were plugging in and plugging out so that we could telephone. At the moment, we have people like Hartmut plug AI in, plug it out, and help us. And in future, that will be done automated.
Okay. I tried to do a smart visitor flow for you two guys. Big applause to Reinhard Lanner and Hartmut Wimmer. And to say to do it humans, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hartmut. Thank you, Reini.